Welcome, and thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Kathleen Rourke, Executive Director of Educational Sales and Marketing at Candlewick Press. I'm really excited for you all to hear from elite athlete, incredibly inspiring human, and debut author Zion Clark. Zion Unmatched, a stunning photographic essay, co-written with New York Times bestselling journalist James S. Hirsch, is arresting, engaging, and approachable, and Booklist hailed it as completely inspirational, a moving read, no matter one's ability, identity, or circumstances. I now turn the conversation over to Zion and the incomparable Sonja Cherry-Paul, Director of Diversity and Equity at Teachers College Reading and Writing Project. We invite you to use the comments section to ask questions.
So Zion, thank you for joining the Black Creator Series. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I have to admit, this is the first time I've spoken to an elite athlete. So I'm super honored to do that. What was it like to train for the 2020, which ended up being the 2021 Paralympic Games in Tokyo?
It was a brutal process. I was coming off a shoulder injury from wrestling the year prior. That's why I actually did not end up competing in wrestling this past year. It kind of was hard for me, being that's what I've done my entire life and being an elite in that as well. But just leading up to the trials, where I ended up getting a 4th place finish, just such a tight race.
Yeah.
With all the other top 3 guys that placed ahead of me, we're all less than a second apart from each other. And just leading up to that, I just put in a ton of hours. I'd be at the track at 6 a.m. to 10. And then I'd be at the track again from 6 to about 10, same day.
Wow.
Just put about 8 hours of work in every single day. When I was able to get the time to, which I made time because I was getting a lot of training from some other elite athletes, elite coaches, just working with them so I could get the best results in the shortest amount of time, given I had coming straight off an injury.
Yeah. Wow. That is incredible considering your injury. What are your plans for 2024?
2024, I plan on making the team for Paris, whether it's wrestling, track and field, javelin, or just whatever I kind of plan on focusing on, which might be all 3, honestly. I've been known to make it to the top in multiple different sports at the same time. So let's see if I can do it again. And I really think that outside of the just Olympics, but 2024, I could see myself really just at the top of my game as just an all-around athlete, possibly resetting my world record a couple times. I'm actually about to reset it here again soon because I'm moving about 4 miles per hour faster than when I first set it.
Wow.
So 2024, there's no telling what I'll be up to, but at the same time, I do have a vision of being a multiple-time world champion, Olympic champion, whether it's fighting, wrestling, grappling, track and field. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah. Well, we'll be cheering you on. How long have you been wrestling and why were you drawn to this sport?
I've been wrestling for about 17 years. And what drew me to the sport was actually my 2nd grade art teacher kind of told me a lot about it when I was really young. I was about seven years old. And he gave me a flyer. Next thing you know, I'm at this wrestling practice and I'm just, having the time of my life. And now it's crazy to think back at that first day. It's been 17 years since then.
And let's talk a little bit about the Guinness World Records. When I was growing up, which is significantly longer ago than you, so many of my childhood peers dreamed of getting into the Guinness Book of World Records, which is now known as Guinness World Records, because its mission is to document the incredible. And who doesn't want to be officially known as incredible? And so, Zion, you've done what lots of kids dream of. You are part of the Guinness World Records. How'd this happen?
I was actually in Redondo Beach out in California shooting some just footage with my team. And, I just told the camera guy, hey, man, I'm about to run about 20 yards. Do you just want to do you just want to like try to keep up? I'm just going to sprint. And he was like, sure. So, made a video, put it on my Instagram, and kid you not, like 2 months later, Guinness is calling the phones and stuff, getting a hold of my management team, and just, they're like, hey, we think you might have the world record. And they were like, do you want to do it? And I was like, sure, I'll try it. So I started training with Olympic 400 gold medalist Butch Reynolds. What an amazing guy, to do what he's done to set the world record and to constantly be at the top of the world for years on end. He's a legend in my book, and be personally trained by him really helped me just develop like hand speed, and really just helped me get faster, and just all his knowledge that he would drop on me. And then everybody else around me, my team, my family, they all kind of supported in my training, and just that mental state really prepared me for that moment. And then when I went out there, I moved way faster than I thought I ever could, and just completely shocked the world and myself at the same time.
Yeah, indeed you did. Speaking about young people and some of their dreams, let's talk a little bit about you as a young person and reading. What were some of the books that you really enjoyed? What were some of your favorites?
Books I like to enjoy. I always enjoy a lot of like fantasy adventures, things that had to do with struggle and, overcoming obstacles. For example, like Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson series. I really enjoyed that a lot. And then all the series he released after that correlated with those books. It's just almost like this never-ending story. Yeah. And people, you kind of watch people grow and mature, and you watch them turn into basically heroes from almost nothing, which put into perspective for me, like, all right, I'm always struggling, but you never know what I can come out as on the other side. And, I read the Harry Potter series too. Those books are, especially as a kid, they're a tough read. But when I was a kid, I tore through all 7 books with ease. And I just love the adventure part about it, because with myself, I like to just get out there. I like to experience some things. I like to just go I like different. I like to just be out there, and I like to take a chance on things, whether things go good, whether things go bad. That's the point of being human. You just go out there and you just strive to be better, and you just really push yourself to see what your limits are.
Yeah. Well, when I think about your book, which we're going to talk about next, it doesn't surprise me to hear you say that books that are really, are about adventure and new experiences and overcoming obstacles were some of your favorites to read as a young person. Let's talk about your work specifically as an author. With Zion Unmatched. And I'm going to share my screen so that everyone can see the beautiful cover of this text. This book you have written with James Hirsch. It is a powerful genre-bending text that is part autobiographical, it's part biographical, it's part motivational speech. It presents as this stunning photographic essay. Was this inspired by that 2018 documentary, or did you always have in mind the goal of being an author?
To answer your question, it was not inspired by my Netflix documentary. Over the years, the same time I got kind of approached about just like the thought of writing a book was about the same time that about a year after my Netflix documentary had aired. And even then, I was still just a kid, so I didn't really understand how any of this worked, if I'm going to be honest. But when I saw the type of effect I was having just through the documentary, and then for me, actually more than the documentary, me going out and just interacting with all these kids and interacting with all different walks of life and all different types of people from across the world, made me feel like if I could really talk to these people on a deeper level, not just they watch something for 12 minutes or they hear me speak for 30 minutes. I want them to be able to sit down and like really hear what I'm saying, because I'm not doing this for my own gratitude. I'm doing this because I want to help people, and I want people to understand that there's a better way of life. Even if it looks like you have no options, you can always choose to be happy. You can always choose to be joyous. You can always choose to have a smile on your face and just get through the tough times and still come out on top. Because, you know, the special thing about us being human, the special thing about us living the human experience is that we all struggle and we all suffer and we all fail. But what's even greater about that experience is that we have the ability to learn and we have the ability to stand back up and to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
I wanted to portray that, how I felt about that, in a way that you could just open up a book, whether you're 7 years old, whether you're 70 years old. I wanted everybody to really be able to feel my energy through this book, to really understand the true meaning of why I released it. At the end of the day, when people read this book, I don't want them to think like, oh, we're reading this because we're fans of Zion, Big Z, whatever. No, I want them to be like, I'm reading this because I want to feel motivated and I want something better with my life. And that might give them that little push to really just be like, okay, the first step starts with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Listening to you, it seems so clear that it was as empowering to write Zion Unmatched as it is for us to read. And the inclusion of the voices of those around you who have impacted your life in this book is one that is important for educators to reflect on, who I know hope to cultivate relationships with their students in the ways that some of the educators and coaches have in your life. And it's so important for young people to read this, to help them recognize that that fire is already inside of them. And also, I just want to give a tip for educators. Almost any one of the pages in this book can be an invitation for young people to write about a time when they've realized the importance of believing in themselves. Zion, what have you noticed as a younger person, and even now, about the visibility of disabilities in children's literature? And what's important for educators to know about this?
Oh yeah, I love this topic. So I'm going to give it to you straight. What I think is, when I was younger, it definitely was not a thing. You know, kids weren't being really included. You know, some of us got put in a completely separate different classes just because we had such and such type of disability. And no one really knew how to work with us. Now we're in a different day, we're in a different age, to where inclusion is a really big part of this next step in society. You know, I did this thing with this program called Shane's Play, and they built these all-inclusive, like 15, 20 acre playgrounds for children with disabilities. They make it so regular kids plus disabled kids can connect and really get to know about each other. Things like that. Like, it's just like, let's look outside of reading. Let's look at reading plus everything else. When it comes to inclusion and being disabled, when we're reading, we want to be able to understand that, okay, somebody might be different, but that does not mean we treat them any different. If anything, we treat them with more kindness, just like they're probably trying to treat you. You know, and on top of that, when it comes to inclusion, you know, we want it to get to a point where you have somebody that's like me, that has caudal regression syndrome, that just doesn't have legs, like doesn't get bullied or doesn't get funny names thrown at them and stuff. You want kids standing up for each other and just banding together. And by severing that bridge or that gap between disabled and normal, we should just look at everybody as just people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And I think one of the ways that we can do that is through books. So I'm wondering for you, when you were a younger person, did you read many books that were inclusive of all people with disabilities? Was that something that you noticed?
Not really.
No.
I learned things very differently. You know, that's why I actively try to make inclusion a very real thing. Because, you know, we need it, especially with this next new age of technology we're going into, the just new step of civilization that we're going into. Like the next 50 years, there's going to be some big changes.
Yeah.
You know, it's right around the corner, and we need to be ready to include everybody.
Yeah. And I think it's so important for publishers and for educators to do the work of normalizing disabilities by making sure all children have access to books that include and are about children with disabilities in ways that aren't superficial, but nuanced and authentic and powerful, like Zion Unmatched. What are you hoping to contribute to children's literature? As an author, what are you hoping to do?
I want a kid to really dream big and be the next big thing, be the next president, be the next astronaut, be the next firefighter, football player, whatever you name it. But I want them to be the next big thing. Because, I think at the end of the day, when we're gone, these little kids that are running around, causing a muck, being all noisy and stuff, when it comes down to it, they are going to be the ones that are taking care of us and running the world at some point in their lives. So we want to show them the right way to do things. We want to make sure that they have a good head on their shoulders. So when they step out, they don't fold.
Zion, we all have intersecting identities. Mm-hmm. And for many Black people, this can result in nuanced ways that we experience inequities and oppression. And these intersecting identities are also sources of strength, right? As a Black woman, I draw strength from many Black women, past and present, known and never met. And they are guideposts for me and how I work to show up in the world. In the award-winning 2018 documentary, Zion, you reflect on your intersecting identities and experiences, how you've worked to navigate personal and societal challenges, and how your identities give you strength. How are you continuing to reflect on and draw strength from the fullness of who you are in all of the work that you do?
You know, I look back on where I come from and what brought me to that first moment where I realized I could do something different. You know, leading up to that moment where you realize you can make change in this world, and that moment where you realize that I'm not like the average person. You know, nobody should be like the average person. We should all be unique in our own special way. But the sooner that you realize that and just realize what it took to get there, and the people that really stand behind you, and just all the times you failed and all the times you've been knocked down, you know, you have to learn from those experiences. And for me to be where I'm at right now, looking back, I'd have to say that the thing that drives me the most is the fact that, you know, all these people have came together over the years to really give me a second chance at life, essentially. Now it's my turn to pay it back tenfold.
Yeah, that's really powerful. The fact that you are drawing strength from past experiences, from successes, even from failures, and using that to drive you forward. What can young readers look forward to reading by you next, Zion? What's coming up next for you?
Next, I'll be releasing a book more so for young adults. It'll be my life story more into detail. It's not coming out till 2023. I just actually finished it a couple weeks ago. It's not like finished, but I'm past the first big step, and I'm very excited to see where this is going to take us. I can't say too much about it yet, just because,
Yeah.
surprise won't be a surprise,
Yeah.
But
Well,
I'm really excited. This book is going to definitely open the eyes of a lot of people, I think. And I think with this book, I might well be on my way to making some very real change.
hey, we'll be looking out for that for sure. In the book trailer for Zion Unmatched, you say that being an author, you have all of this power in your words, and that you can either abuse this power or you can use it to your biggest advantage and inspire. Zion, not only as an author, but as an athlete, your work with organizations and children, your life is in service of using your power in ways that benefit the village, that benefit the collective. What does it mean to you to be a Black creator?
To me, that means that I'm standing out and I'm standing up for the different Black creators, Black business owners, the Black people as a whole, but, being a Black creator, it opens doorways for others that might be afraid to step out just because, we look different or we're treated different or our culture is looked upon with a frown or looked at as different. We haven't been dealt the best cards over the last 100 years whatsoever. And when I'm doing the things that I'm doing, being whether it's an author, whether it's an athlete, let me talk about wrestling just for a split second. There is not a big African American presence in the sport of wrestling whatsoever. And it's been like that for a very long time. And it started to change when this athlete, his name is Jordan Burroughs. He's dubbed the King of Wrestling. This African American man from Nebraska came out there and just dominated everybody. National title, world title, Pan American title, Olympic title. And it really opened the door. Next thing you know, we're starting to get more and more African Americans like trying the sport out, because there's been a lot of stuff over the last couple of years. This kid had to get his dreads cut off because the ref said his hair was too long and he cut his dreads mid-match. That is completely uncalled for. And so being a Black creator, I have a chance to just completely tear down every single wall and just be like, all right, everybody follow me. We about to be up.
Thank you, Zion. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope you all enjoyed the conversation and can take Zion's work into your classrooms. Zion has more titles coming from Candlewick Press, and I can't wait to see what he does next. Please join us in February for a conversation with award-winning author, illustrator Maxine Beneba-Clark, whose most recent picture book celebrates the meaning behind the words Black Lives Matter. For a full schedule of conversations, please visit blackcreatorseries.candlewick.com.